A quality build in Dark Souls 3 basically just means you have equal parts strength and dexterity, usually at the soft cap of 40 if you're talking about soul level 120 dueling. And the reason most people go to this is because it allows them to use basically every weapon in the game, and most weapons scale the best with both stats. I mean, it would make sense. You have 2 damaging stats instead of just 1 in like a pure strength or like a pure dex build, so it would make sense that you would get the most damage out of, having more of those damaging stats. But the thing is, almost every weapon in the game is like that. However, there are a few standouts that actually perform better with a unique build, be it all strength, all dex, some intelligence, some faith, etc. So I'm going to go over my top 5 personal favorite non-quality weapons right now. Hope you guys enjoy. Coming in at number 5, I would have to say the Moonlight Greatsword is one of the better non-quality weapons in the game. This weapon scales primarily with intelligence, and you kind of want to take that all the way up to 60 because you're going to have a lot of spare stats. The physical damage is not worth putting anything into, it's very, very minor. And this is actually a good thing because this is one of the few greatswords in the game that you can actually use one-handed and you don't really lose any damage because obviously magic damage is not affected by you two-handing the weapon. So the Moonlight Greatsword is a decently damaging greatsword. It has projectile attacks, and it does not require really any strength or dexterity. You need the base requirements, and that's about it. And then you can still do pretty decent damage. This is why it's a go-to weapon for mages as a backup, because it just primarily relies on that 60 intelligence. And it's overall one of the better greatswords, not for the damage, but the length. It's one of the longest greatswords in the game, and that can be really annoying to get in on. In 4th place is Gundyr's Halberd. It's definitely one of my favorite glaives in the game. It actually scales better if you have all strength and no dex, other than obviously the base requirements. You're going to want to have 66 strength on basically all of these strength builds, by the way, because when you two-hand your weapon, that basically gives you the equivalent of 99 strength, which is, well, that's a lot. And a lot of these weapons only perform well when they are two-handed. For example, you never want to two-hand a glaive, otherwise you lose your hyper armor and it's just not worth it. However, Gundyr's Halberd is probably my favorite glaive in the game. It does less damage overall than the other glaives, but that's only if you're on a 40-40 build. If you actually go 66 strength, it does pretty much on par damage with the rest of them. And the Champion's Charge is one of my favorite weapon arts in the game. It has so much control. Even if you know someone's going to parry, you can steer it to the left and then redirect it back to the right. It's an excellent wake-up. Just everything about this weapon is really, really good. It actually has hyper armor breaking properties as well. You can stop an ultra greatsword from coming down on you right before it's about to swing. Overall, it's just really, really good and one of my favorite glaives. So the fact that you can benefit from a non-quality build is really nice. The Great Club takes 3rd place for me, and it's only because of the R2. The R2 on the Great Club is so damn good at roll catching people. It catches everybody, even people that know what they're doing. The thing that you do when you're using the Great Club is instead of just running up to someone and R1ing like they'd expect, you run right in their face and do an R2 instead. They see the start of the animation and roll backwards thinking they're going to dodge the R1, but the R2 is much slower and travels very far, so it roll catches very, very frequently. And at 66 strength, this thing has around 630 AR, and that is absolutely massive. This is also one of the best twink early game strength weapons because even with 27 strength, you get a massive amount of AR due to the bonus properties of two-handing the weapon and you gaining a bonus in strength. So overall, the Heavy Club is by far one of the best pure strength only weapons, but make sure to make it heavy. Coming in at number 2 is the Chaos Blade, and the only reason this thing is not number 1 is the self-damage. All it takes is somebody that knows how to turtle, and you're going to kill yourself. So that is the only reason this thing is not rank 1. Otherwise, it would by far be rank 1, because Chaos Blade is extremely good. It's just a good katana overall. It's very long, and with around 60 dexterity, you get like 450 AR out of it, which is pretty damn massive for a katana. If you can do it, there's a funny build where you can have 99 dex and you have like almost 500 AR. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's one of the most fun dex scaling weapons in the game. Other than that, it has the same moveset as pretty much all the other katanas, so that's not to say it's bad. That's a good thing. The katana moveset is incredible. Chaining running R1s is like the best thing you can do, so slap a Leo ring on there, do some running R1s. The L2 R1s are great for roll catching. The R2s are good for wake-ups. R1s are good just for regular damage. Everything about it is good except the self-damage. And in first place, we have Yhorm's Great Machete. This thing is an absolute beast at 66 strength. It has over 700 AR, which is just ridiculous how much damage it does. On a two-handed attack, it can hit easily 500 damage. On one-handed, which you might want to do more frequently since it doesn't combo two-handed, it does around 400 to 500. So the damage on this thing is absolutely insane. And the worst thing about fighting Yhorms is you cannot outspace it at all. It doesn't matter how perfect your spacing is, the shockwave is going to stop you. That is why you see it even in high-level tournaments as like an offhand weapon, because you cannot space against it. It is impossible. So your only option is to roll into it and try to backstab, but that's why Yhorms is also comboed with like an S-stock or a straight sword, something very fast in the offhand or the main hand. And so when you roll into someone that actually has the weapon, then they just spam that attack, and then you're just stuck in straight sword spam, like in melee range. So Yhorms is such a pain in the ass to deal with, and with 66 strength, the damage it does is absolutely bonkers. If you Warcry it, you get almost 800 AR, and this is with no buffs. This is just raw damage. This is not even including if you do like Power Within, Red Tear Stone, any of this shit. It has insane amounts of damage, so Yhorms has got to take my place for number 1 on my list of non-quality weapons. So there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this little short video. Again, I'm trying to switch things up from narrated thought duels, and this one was kind of fun to make. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take it easy. Get some sleep. I'm David Tell. This is Insomniac. What?